Good morning. This is Ethan Gladwell with Medicare Millennials, where we are teaching you guys how to sell Medicare year round. It is Friday, February 12th, which means we are nearly halfway through Medicare Advantage open enrollment period. I hope everybody's out there crushing their goals. This week was a very, very good week for me. I had a bunch of new, fresh leads. I got on the phone, I hustled, I booked, 18 appointments, and I sold 20 apps with one Medicare Advantage HIP plan and then with a final expense as well. So overall, a fantastic week, and I'm looking to repeat that over and over until an OEP is over. And I did have somebody ride with me this week, somebody that's working with us, wanted to come down from Florida, even though it was like 10 degrees all week. He wanted to come down and take a look at how we're doing things, how I'm in the house. He had a problem with taking about 2 hours inside a house during a Medicare Advantage sale. And it just simply should not take that long. It's not near that complicated. And in fact, if you are taking that long, you're most likely confusing that prospect and will most likely result in no sale. So he got in the car and we got to go out and run about 10 appointments. And the quickest appointment time was 35 minutes, which I've seen a lot of people do it, but that's a little fast. And the longest time it should take when writing business is about an hour. Any more than that, we're either talking too much, we're not maintaining control of the conversation, or maybe it may be a super complicated case, which we did run into one of those this week. But other than that, guys, it should not be taking all that long. Okay, we're building a little bit of rapport, taking about 5 minutes doing so. We're going through a needs assessment that might take 5 to 10 minutes, depending on health and doctors if they have their information ready for you. And then, of course, we're talking about getting a scope signed and then going over the sale and then closing that sale. Okay, this is not rocket science. This isn't something that should be taking forever. This is something that needs to be pretty quickly, because in the Medicare game, it should be a volume game, right? We're taking care of these clients, we're getting them in a much better position, and we're going to service those clients. But if we're 100% Medicare, we know that commission can be a little bit lower than any other products we're selling, so we need to have a little bit more volume. Now, with that being said, that agent that rode with us, he had commented on something on watching all my sales this week. He had mentioned that I not once asked for the sale. I not once said, Mrs. Jones, does that sound like something you want to get done today? Because the truth of the matter is, guys, as long as you're putting somebody in a really good position, you're promising to take care of those folks, then there shouldn't really be a sale. Okay, you shouldn't have to ask for it. That client at the end of your presentation should go, how do I get that? Okay, that's what it should look like. It's not anything that we're having to twist arms. We're not having to beg, steal, or borrow, anything like that. All we're trying to do is explain to them what their plan is, how you can improve their situation, whether it's more dental, more vision, more over-the-counter benefits, less co-pays, less deductibles, covers the drug better, whatever it may be. Find a couple of things to talk about that makes their situation better, and then write it down on a piece of paper, and then turn around and show it to them and say, Mrs. Jones, here we are, okay, currently, before I walked in here, and here's where I think we need to be, okay? And they're going to take a look at the difference here, and of course, as long as it's better and makes more sense, their next words out of their mouth should be, how do I get that? That's what you want to hear, and then obviously we're not going to hear it every single time, but we should be hearing it more often than not. If we're doing our job, if we're going through an effective needs assessment, figuring out what their pain point is, what they're needing help with, then we can really dig down in on that. We can find something that fits them better, and then we can let them know that it's available. Their doctors are accepted with that plan. Their drugs are all covered, better or as good or better. And then that little thing that they needed, whether it was whatever, we're going to drill down in on that and make sure that they understand this is going to take care of their problem. So again, guys, it's not tough. We don't need to be going, hey, Mrs. Jones, does that sound like something we want to do today? Because 9 times out of 10, when you say something like that, they're going to say no, or they're going to say, let me think about it, or they're going to say anything other than, yes, let's do it. And we don't want that. All right. This is a one-call close. This is not tough. Insurance is very confusing to normal people. Insurance should not be confusing to you and me. And so we keep it simple for these folks. We let them know that their problem is going to be solved with whatever we provided for them. And then boom, we're done. Mrs. Jones, the good news is during AEP, annual enrollment period, from October 15th to December 7th, you had that opportunity to make a change for the effective date to be January 1. You chose not to, and that's okay. That's when I'm here today. And now we have what's called open enrollment period. Now, open enrollment period, all that means is from January 1st to March 31. As long as you have this Medicare Advantage card, which you do, we can make a one-time change effective the very next month. So, Mrs. Jones, the good news is I can get you that cheaper specialist copay, or I can get you that less out of pocket when you go stay in the hospital copay. I can get that to you starting in March. Okay, that's the good news. And then that's all you got to say. And then you sit there and turn around and show it to them. And that's all it takes, guys. It's nothing. Okay, don't overcomplicate it. Insurance is super intimidating to normal people. Okay, don't overcomplicate it. We don't need to be going. One more thing. If that agent that came with me that said that was taking 2 hours, for example, what he was doing is he was going over original Medicare Part A and Part B, Medicare Advantage and Medicare Supplement, all of that. If this client has only had Medicare Advantage, then most likely all you need to talk about is Medicare Advantage. If this client is super unhealthy and couldn't qualify for a supplement, or doesn't have much money and couldn't afford one, you don't need to talk about Medicare Supplement. You don't need to go into any of that. If they're 76 years old and have only had Medicare Advantage their entire Medicare career, the likelihood of them being interested in a supplement is slim to none. Now, you'll run into it every now and then, okay? But now, if they have a supplement, then it is important for you to go over supplement and advantage. Although they most likely can't switch during Medicare Advantage open enrollment period unless they have a different SEP, special election period, then you still want to educate them and say, look, every plan is standardized by the federal government, FFGGNN. Got it. Just to let you know, I know you get a lot of infomercials and phone calls, and maybe your buddies are telling you about the $0 plan. You're a fool. You're paying $200 a month. I'm paying zero. Life is great, okay? So you need to be able to go over Medicare supplements and Medicare Advantage with those folks. But if somebody's just had Medicare Advantage their entire Medicare career, most likely not interested, can't afford, or can't health qualify, you don't need to go into the basics of Medicare, okay? Just for folks that are either A, on supplements, or B, brand new to Medicare. So to wrap up, I know that was a little long-winded. I went on a little rabbit hole there for just a minute. But to wrap up, guys, we don't need to overcomplicate the sale. It's super simple. Again, pick 2 to 3 things that's going to improve their situation. Let them know that you're there to service them, that you're going to be taking care of them every single year from here on out to make sure they're still in the most competitive plans for them. You shouldn't be taking very long. I'm talking 40 minutes to an hour most. This isn't a 2-hour meeting. We're going over, going through a needs assessment. We're figuring out what the problem is. We're presenting the sale. We're closing the sale. That's it. All right. And then we're not asking for the sale. We're not going to ask Mrs. Jones if that sounds like something she wants to do. We are showing her the T-chart that we have made before, after, and they ought to be saying, Ethan, that looks great. How do I do that? Okay. And then again, we're also not giving these folks a full-on Medicare education if they're 76 years old and have only been on one type, unless they've asked for it. All right. So don't sit there and spend a whole lot of time doing that when, again, most likely they can't qualify or afford. So I hope you guys have learned something today. Keep it simple. We're not in there a couple hours. Yes, we're enjoying their time and their company, and we're getting them something better, and we're excited for them, but it's something that we can't sit there and do all day long. We got to move on to the next. So if you guys are doing it a little bit differently, I'd love to hear about it, but it should not be taking that long. If you're taking any less than, like I said, 35 minutes, please enlighten me. I'd love to know how and what you're doing, and then also your retention rate as well, and just for me to know. So again, hope you guys learned something. Hope you have a wonderful weekend, and hope you kill the rest of your OEP. Y'all take care.